Okay, in this video, I am going to break down the top 10 reasons to call Queen Creek home. Now, I am a huge advocate for area over house. I know you absolutely love to look at the pretty homes online and then say, this is where I want to live. And then when you call us and I say, why do you pick the city? And they just say, because they have the homes I like. Area is so important. And so in this video, I want to tell you all the pros and the cons that I have seen and lived in Queen Creek over the last many years. Now, Queen Creek has grown and changed, and it is continuing to change. So, once a very small farming town, I'm going to say it's actually more of a farming cowboy country town that is still holding on to that country root. So, if you are looking for, again, kind of that farmhouse, that rural, slower pace of life, but connected to the busy city and have all the amazing things that a larger city might have, you might want to consider Queen Creek. And here's the thing, some people feel like they can't afford to buy in Queen Creek, and sometimes it's just a matter of resetting your expectation and what you can get. If Queen Creek does not work for you, there are neighboring cities that obviously you can take advantage of some of the benefits of everything that Queen Creek has to offer. But I'm going to break those down for you because not everything is shareable if you're not a Queen Creek resident. I know you're probably like, what? Yep, I'm going to give you the insight on that. So let's break down the top 10 reasons. Let's start though. Where are we talking? If you're just the beginning of your search, let's take a look at the map real quick so you can see where I'm talking about in the greater Phoenix area. About 4 p.m. on a weekday, it'll show you where the massive traffic is. And most of Phoenix is built out with suburbs. So most of the building is this down here in the Southeast Valley. Over here is the Southwest Valley, and this is the Northwest Valley. Not a lot of building up here, although I did do some recent videos in North Scottsdale, but those are going to be about $2.5 million price point. I would like to focus on family area, and this is going to be in the Southeast Valley. We saw the draw in Chandler in the early 80s, and it's just grown exponentially from there. So this is the only freeway that's really close to Queen Creek. Note that there is a freeway. It's not too busy at 4 o'clock, except right here. And by the way, most of this traffic that is right here is because there is construction widening it from, I think, 4 to 6 lanes. So once that construction is done, that's going to be a nice free, open freeway. But until then, you're going to be very reliant on the 202 and also the 24 here. Now, the 24 is not really a freeway. It's a state route. So it's kind of where I grew up in Northern California. It's called an expressway. So there are some lights. So if you see where it stops here, and it stops here, the yellows, that's because that's where the lights are, and that's what's causing that backup. Now, one of the big negatives I want to point out in Queen Creek is the traffic in Queen Creek is not good. It's just not good. And this is the road right here. So we're right off the 24. We're coming south. Look at this. This is just 4 o'clock. It's going to get worse as the day goes by. But look at this though, what I want to point out, it's not because it's people going to Queen Creek, it's people cutting through Queen Creek to get to Santan Valley. So if you have been considering Santan Valley, or if you notice online through Zillow or Redfin, you might see a home that might be way down here and it has a Queen Creek address. It's not Queen Creek. Give us a call, you guys. One of the things I always say is you don't know what you don't know. There's a completely different just setup in Santan Valley. It's not incorporated. The property taxes are very different. Fire services aren't included. I could go on. In fact, I'll do another video for you guys on Santan Valley. But today we're talking about Queen Creek. And I just want you to know, if you use that freeway to get out, the first thing I would say is do not use Ellsworth exit. Okay, because again, this is going to get worse. But you can see there are some other options. And, at 4 o'clock, it's still going to have some yellow in there. Picking the area before you pick the house is so important. One of the great things about Queen Creek is that the commute shed, which means the average person likes to drive less than 30 minutes to get to work. Although it was very achievable 2 or 3 years ago with, again, the inbound migration that we have here in the greater Phoenix area. If you want to keep that 30 minutes, give us a call. Let's have a conversation. I really want to make sure you're placed in the right part of the valley. People don't realize how much stress can be added. And think about it, the more time you're on the road, you're away from the family, the stress, et cetera. You're not being productive, you're not resting, you're not recharging, whatever it is, and your kids need you. So getting home as soon as possible, if you don't work from home, is so important. All right, so I've showed you where we're at. I've gone on long enough. Let's get straight to the nitty-gritty and all the details. So let's talk about number one is safety and crime. So I like to go to crimegrade.org. When you go to crimegrade.org, I always tell people to kind of, you got to give it a little bit of room. There are some areas where it shows up that it has a really high crime rate. And I would say that you just got to look closer what that means. So if you're talking about vacant land, if you're talking about an airport and things like that, it might show that has a higher crime rate because trespassing, obviously, things like that. But when you pick apart Queen Creek, look at that. A to A minus. We're talking green across the screen. Queen Creek is one of the safest parts of the entire valley that you can call home. You feel so safe there, day, morning, night. If you happen to be out in the middle of the night or you wake up at the crack of dawn in the summertime to go running at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, it feels safe. You're going to hear the roosters crowing too, by the way. I'm telling you, this is such a cute little country town that, yes, is not a cute little country town anymore. It's a big country town. In fact, they are top rated, number one rated as the best little city in the West. Also, the best small city to raise a family in the entire western part of the United States. And in Arizona, they always rank in the top 5. They rank in the top 5 for a lot of different schools. And let's talk about, number one, we covered on safety. Number 2, let's jump right into schools. If you are raising a family or starting your family or growing a family, or even like the kids are growing up and what are they going to do after they get out of school? This part of town delivers. We are talking everything from 6 different public school systems. 6 different. That's just insane. There's also charter schools, private schools, there's Montessori schools, there's micro schools. There are so many different types of schools, whether you're going with the academic kind of focus or the STEM focus. If you want kids in athletics, if you're talking volleyball and softball and soccer and basketball and football and wrestling, and some of these schools have pickleball teams. Like, it is unbelievable how modern and how fast Queen Creek has adapted to their growth that they've experienced over the last 7 to 10 years. It is unbelievable. The newest high school, called Crimson High School, is unbelievable. They don't even have their first graduating class yet, but it is unbelievable how everything is so thought out, literally decades ahead of everything that it needs for its growing community. It is unbelievable. They have a new elementary school opening up this next school year, 25 to 26, and they continue to make improvements on the schools that are there. They have a plentiful budget, I guess, but it's a primary focus for this town. They are very proud of their education program. And if you're also looking at pre-K, or if you're looking after 12th grade, they're also ASU Polytech has a campus out here. Also, we have East Valley Institute of Technology that has for access for students in their junior and senior year. There are so many academic benefits in the town of Queen Creek, no matter which direction you're going with your children. Even if you're doing homeschooling and you're looking for some extra programs for the kids, for them to join, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But I'm telling you, overall, the choice is plentiful, and more so than any other city in the entire Phoenix Valley. Hands down. There's so many other parts that I'm going to share with you, but you're going to have to stick with me. Let's talk about housing options in this area. And I have to say, this is one of the few parts of the entire Phoenix Valley, and I mean everywhere, where you have a very diverse type of housing. Everything from entry level, first-time home buyers in the 400,000 in around the Queen Creek area, and they're right down the road from a $4 million home or a $10 million home. It's so cool to live in an area that has, again, all different types of housing. There's other parts of the valley that you can get $400,000 homes, but the entire part of that valley is $400,000 homes. It's nice, again, seeing these communities, and it just, I don't know, in my opinion, it just makes it feel more like a town, right? And everybody comes together. It doesn't matter what walk of life you're from or what stage you are in life. That is the one thing I really love about Queen Creek. There are more millionaires in the town of Queen Creek, really, than just about anywhere else. Has the higher in the Phoenix Valley. Now, everybody's like, what? Scottsdale, Gilbert. Okay. Scottsdale is mostly luxury homes, and those are like second home, third home, fourth homes. It's very expensive, and there are no such thing as $400,000 single family homes. There's not even really a lot of $400,000 condominiums. So cross that off, right? Gilbert is over the top of amazing, and I did a video on Gilbert. If you haven't seen it, you're going to have to watch it. I can tell you now that I'm not really covering Gilbert, it is becoming the secondary Scottsdale. It is going to be very busy. It already is very busy. So it's nice in Queen Creek living within proximity to all that, but I'm talking about massive hustle and bustle and so much going on, lots of apartments. So this is kind of a more rural community. You're going to see larger lots in a higher price point, not in those $400,000 price point. But again, that's why the builders do that. I get that question all the time. Why do these builders build such small lots? Well, because land is expensive out here now. And if they made the lots bigger, they would have to have higher priced. And it just doesn't work. So this is how they keep housing somewhat affordable in this part of town. So again, you can get $400,000 homes on maybe a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot lot, or you can get a $4 million or $10 million farmhouse that will make anyone drool. I'm telling you, these homes are just to die for, and they're super modern and they're over the top 1 acre lots. Okay, I'm going on and on. I just absolutely love what you see in Queen Creek. Here's the thing though, the housing options are all over the place at every price point. So you just got to kind of reset your expectation if you're in the 400,000, if you're in the 800,000, or if you're in the 1.5 million. There's a lot of options. I think the home you can get in Queen Creek for $550 these days, in my opinion, is over the top. So again, lots of housing options. And here's the thing, there's constantly new construction. I'll tell you, there's pros and cons to new construction and resale, right? It just depends on, again, what you're looking for. If you are looking for the best return on your dollar, it's a newer home as opposed to a new home. Now, the incentives on new construction is obviously those builder incentives and buying your rate down. But let me tell you, when you finish that home or when you close on it, it's vanilla interior. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. There's nice window coverings, a whole backyard. People don't realize the amount of money it costs to do these improvements in the backyard. And again, just, there's little things that you're still going to be adding to that home for quite some time. When you buy a resale home, and when I say this newer, as opposed to, I don't mean 2 or 3 years old, although there are some that are 2 and 3 years old, but I'm talking like 5 or 10 years old. These are the sweet spot, guys. And this is, again, I'm telling you, will help you find that sweet spot. The homeowner the seller has already put in that amazing pool, maybe those pavers or that travertine. Maybe they've also put in shutters, or they put in these really over the top electronic blinds or shutters, or over the top outdoor patio fireplaces and pergolas and built-in barbecues. I am just telling you, maybe they bought it from a builder a long time ago when housing wasn't really expensive, and they put over $100,000 worth of upgrades. This is where you get your biggest bang for your buck. And a home being 10 to 15 years old, you still get the modern element. You get the open field, open floor plan, the great room concept. You usually get 9 to 10 foot ceilings. And again, the big, windows, maybe you just, those windows, people don't realize they're about $30,000, whether you buy them with the builder or you put them in afterwards. Again, that's why I'm telling you, resale, there's a whole lot of opportunities. But I know you're all used to watching brand new construction. I have a little secret for you. Next week, I have a video coming up on a new community that even swooned me. I went in there and was like, oh my God, I need to do a video specifically on this community. So I'm not going to tell you which one it is. You're just going to have to come back next week because I'm going to be doing a highlight on this particular community. But this is what I mean. Queen Creek has everything from 20-year-old homes that have absolutely everything, that are super walkable or close to golf or close to trails. We haven't even got to that stuff. In the $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 price point. You can also, if you're looking for that luxury $1 million, $1.5 million, like over the top Airbnb beach like type of backyard, all of those types of homes can be found in one area, and it's Queen Creek. So that's what I love about Queen Creek. All right. Number 4, I'm going to come to you with jobs. What if you need to start looking around for another job? So what other job opportunities are in the area? That's so important. People, again, you got to think out of the present. I always talk about this too. You got to think about your exit at the time of the entrance. So you want to make sure your home is resellable. Don't buy against a road. Don't buy with power lines. Don't buy on, I mean, I could go on and on. That's why you got to give us a call, you guys. We will help you figure out all these crazy, like, what do I got to think about? We're gonna do the thinking for you. And again, the job market in the area, you want to know, because not only is that important for you if anything were to change for you in your employment, but also number 2, from the resellability. Like, you want your area to continuing to grow or sustain. You don't want an area that's kind of dying. So, all right. So jobs in this area, one of the great things about Queen Creek is it has a lot of opportunity within a 30-minute drive. So whether you're talking high tech or you're talking any other kind of like healthcare, medical care, high paying jobs, you're going to find an abundance of those in the Southeast Valley. We have a lot of government jobs out this way. Of course, Intel's out this way. Here's the big thing guys, that you have to like, I don't think people have even like really thought about this. LG Energy is building one of the largest battery campuses in the country right here in Queen Creek. That's pretty big. Yeah. This particular one campus, one employer is bringing almost 3,000 high paying jobs to this area. That factory or campus, I don't know what to call it, but they will be in full operation by the end of 2026. So we haven't seen that inbound of employees yet of 3,000 people. What do you think is going to happen to the demand when that opens up? And the other companies that are going to start to open up around them. I have a dear friend that used to work with the city of Chandler. She works with the town of Queen Creek now, and she gave me their presentation that they've been doing to help incentivize, I hate that word, that brings in companies. And so it's pretty stimulating when you see all this. There's a lot of commercial going on everywhere in the greater Phoenix area. By the way, if you're looking at other videos, or especially Instagram and TikTok, those are just quick, like, hey, look at me, kind of like, if you want to find the right area to buy a home, you have to pick up that phone, set up a Zoom meeting with us so that we can have a personalized consultation. What's important to you? Obviously you have a budget, you have a time frame, you have likes, dislikes criteria, you have family journey, whatever it is. And then based on your information, we're going to give you some information that you can't just find all by yourself. Because again, remember, you don't know what you don't know. That's why you just got to give us a call. And you know the easiest way to give us a call? Go to our website. Our website is a free website. We're not going to spam you. We're not going to kill you to death with phone calls and a whole bunch of junk emails. Let me tell you, just connect with us on the website. I also have a free relocation guide on there that also has some more information on there. But it's the quickest way to get a hold of us. All right, I'm going to get to the fun stuff now. We talked about the jobs. We talked about housing options, schools, and the safety of the area. Let's get to the fun stuff. Number 5, shopping. I don't know about you, but it is a combination between making your life easy, right? And also providing for your family, and also maybe some fun, right? So shopping in this area is abundant. When we see all the businesses that have come here, everything from a Costco to amazing amount of Fry's, and you might be laughing because you're like, Fry's. Fry's is a gorgeous grocery store here in the greater Phoenix area. We also have Sprouts, several different Sprouts in the town of Queen Creek. And then you're going to find a ton of everything else from my favorite Goodwill. I love to repurpose things. And let me tell you, everything from quaint little stores, country stores, you want big Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, anything and everything you can imagine is already in the town of Queen Creek. And really what makes it the next level is after you start seeing all these corporate stores coming in is when you start to see the small mom and pop shops. Let's jump right on over to dining. And dining and the mom and pop shops kind of coincide. Every single city has fast food restaurants. Every single city has the big corporate restaurants. But what makes Queen Creek unique is that we are now starting to see those mom and pop shops. I'm talking everything from breweries. We also have 2 amazing farms that have become restaurants and agritainment, which I'm going to segue into in a moment, but we're going to stick with dining. One of them is called Schnepp's Farms, and you can go there weekdays for breakfast. Oh my God, it's absolutely delicious, and it's such an amazing environment. And then the big one is the Olive Mill. The Olive Mill is, again, you can only get these kind of things. I don't want to say only in Queen Creek because there's actually some places in Gilbert that are like this. But again, that's what is so unique about this part of the valley. You will not find this on the west part of the Phoenix Valley. They just didn't have the farms out that way. So if you're also looking for healthy eating, that's a big thing, especially when you're raising family. You want to know that you have food choices. We're talking farmers markets. We're talking you can go to the farms and pick up your fresh eggs. You can go to, like I said, Sprouts. There's even an Aldi's out here. Yeah, that was an experience for me.
Oh, whoops.
Oh, wait, do you have a...
I don't have a quarter.
Oh, okay. Here, I didn't get it out yet, so give me a sec here. I don't know if I have one, actually. I don't have a quarter, my dear.
Yeah, I don't have a quarter either.
Okay.
Okay, so we're not going to get a cart, so we'll just...
Lesson learned, I always carry a quarter. Yeah, if you go to Aldi's, you need a quarter. But that is, again, what Queen Creek has to offer and what is still happening in what will be downtown Queen Creek. It still hasn't even opened up. One of the things that Phoenix, people don't realize if they don't live here, is that our downtown Phoenix isn't really the core of our city. We have downtown districts all over the greater Phoenix area. And so if you live in Scottsdale, you probably only go, that one's called Old Town, right? If you live in Chandler, you go to downtown Chandler. If you live in Gilbert, you're going to go to downtown Gilbert. Well, Queen Creek is building their downtown right now. And we are going to see some very cool open air, super modern restaurants, steakhouses, wine bars, taco shops, park areas, walking districts, and that has yet to come. And it is under construction right now, so you are going to see more and more of this 25 and 2026. So it's amazing. One of the things I want to kind of jump to, I'm going to call it agritainment. This is number 7 on my list. And that agritainment is an area that I just feel like it was built and created for children. It is a Disneyland locally owned. Let's just call it that. So it is called Pecan, and I pronounce it pecan, not pecan. Pecan Lake Entertainment. This area is so much fun. And even for people that can't necessarily afford some of the higher cost of activities, there's some outdoor areas that you can take your kids to that the kids can socialize all different areas. They have a garden over here. They have a golf area. They also have, I don't even know what these contraption things are called. I'll just, my editor is showing them right now. They have a huge arcade. They also have, what are these little called? Go-karts. It is unbelievable. And if you homeschool, you can do this stuff during the day where they have some discounts. Also right next door is called Fat Cats. Fat Cats has movie theaters. They also have an indoor night golf thing. They have a bowling alley and they have more arcade. And right next to this area too is the rodeo grounds. If you're thinking of like Friday Night Lights, like the town when, the little tiny towns and you watch the movie, the Hallmark movies, where everybody comes out for the football game on Friday. First of all, everybody comes out for the football games on Fridays here too. But it's kind of cool when the rodeo is in town, everybody goes to the rodeo and it's a lot of fun. Again, you don't be surprised if you see horses on the side of the road and the big cow pies. Well, those would be horse pies, but that's super normal. I'm telling you, the outdoor activity and the indoor activity, got to think of the indoor activity too in the summertime. We're right at the base of Santan Mountains. This is also some of my favorite hiking area. I take my dog here all the time. And there's all different level trails, everything from beginners to intermediate. They even have some, the Parks Department, it's part of the Maricopa County Parks Department. They have some night hikes where they take the kids and some stargazing and things like that. There's so many things for children. Everything from, again, indoor KTAR, which is like an indoor jungle gym for kids. There is, and it continues to grow. So if you are thinking about how am I going to keep my kids busy, there is a long list. It'll take you forever to go through, and all the different like little spring flings and the Halloween get-togethers, and they even have a truck festival. I think it's called Feastival though. Food truck festival, that's what it is. It sounds weird. But anyways, it's a group of like 20, 30, 40 maybe food trucks where they get together. I think it's the first Friday of the month. Farmers markets. There are car shows. There is so many things to keep children entertained all seasons of the year. Number 9, these are things, parents think about, but they're not on your list probably. At least not near the top. And that's number 9 is going to be medical. There's a lot of medical options here in the Queen Creek area. Not only are you well, depending on where you live in Queen Creek, but you're not too far away from Gilbert Regional, which is actually Desert Samaritan. No, Dignity Health. There we go. It's Dignity Health, and that campus is absolutely exploding. That is right at Val Vista and the 202. So it's just a hop and a skip in the town of Gilbert. So it's just right next door. And then also there is another hospital also right next to Encantera, which is a 55 plus community, but there's also part of that community that's 40 plus. And then there's a hospital there, as well as all kinds of dental and eye doctor appointments, and even also other kind of services. There's karate. There's, I can't even think of all, like it literally, as I'm driving by, I'm in awe of every single business that's just blowing up down there. It is unbelievable. Believe it or not, most of Queen Creek is kind of, let's just say it's spoken for. I'm not going to say it's built up. They're about 2/3 of the way being complete. And so my recommendation, if you are looking for long-term investment, this is an area that I would highly recommend that you take a look at. Also, that's going to be number 10, and that is the future of the area that you're looking to buy. Like, you want to look at, obviously, places that are going to fill your needs today, especially if you're raising children. You don't want to wait for, oh, heck, I haven't even talked about one of my favorite parts of Queen Creek, and that is Frontier Park. Can I interrupt myself? Let's jump right on over to Frontier Park. So here I'm going to talk about the two, well, let's just go to Frontier Park first, and then I'll get to the negative, and then I'll go to future. So Frontier Park, absolutely over the top amazing. I recently picked up pickleball. They have pickleball here. They have baseball fields. They have an amazing splash pad. Oh my God, you got to check out this splash pad. And they have an over-the-top aquatic center. So the aquatic center, everybody has been waiting for this to open up, and it is free for Queen Creek residents. Some people that don't live in Queen Creek thought that meant that if they were not a Queen Creek resident, that they could pay to join. And it just came out recently as they were preparing to open up. I don't know, it's probably always been there. If you don't live in Queen Creek, you can't use it. So that's one of the benefits of, again, tax dollars working hard for you. They do offer some events and special, programs and stuff where they will open it up to non-residents, and they have some non-resident fees. But for the meantime, anyways, because of course they can change the rules. They wanted to keep it for Queen Creek residents only, so that they didn't just have this massive inbound of children from other cities. This is not the first city that I have seen do something like this, but I'll tell you, it's definitely causing an uproar. The negative that I want to talk about is, I mentioned the traffic. The traffic is not so much, it can be getting around town. I drive a completely different way today And that if you how do I say this? Give yourself time when you're driving around this part of town. It is a slower pace of life. And people aren't, thank goodness, not honking and road rage. Like, people just take your time so you don't stress out. And I feel like people that live kind of that more chill life have no problem with the traffic in and around Queen Creek. The problems are the main roads, because there's no freeway from the 202 to Santan Valley. So the residents, which are over 100,000 that live in Santan Valley, and by the way, 90% of the home or the residents that live in Santan Valley are commuting over an hour to work. Not ideal. And again, that's where and I get it, when you look online, you can get the same house for $100,000 less. What does that $100,000 mean to you? And again, that's why you got to work the numbers. That's why you got to give us a call. I'm telling you, Queen Creek will always be in demand because we also have the diverse communities out there. You have these gorgeous horse properties, these ranchettes, these mini ranches. These are $1 million homes, and this is always going to be a very desirable part of the valley. And so again, even if it's not an investment, it's where you're going to live. It is your investment, and you want to make sure that when it's time for you to move, that it's in a high demand area. This is, again, another reason I would say buy in Queen Creek, not Santan Valley. All right, guys, if you are thinking of buying anywhere in the Phoenix Valley, I'm telling you, we are your go-to, and we're going to help you figure out what you don't know so we can get you the right information so that you can make the right decision for yourself. All right, guys, I cannot wait to hear from you. Don't wait any longer. Connect with us on the website, or you give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. Days, nights, or weekends, we got your back when moving to Phoenix, Arizona. And don't forget to chime in for next week. We're going to be showing you that new community in Queen Creek.